With Prohibition in full swing by the early 1920s, rural Southern Illinois became a prime example of the unintended consequences of the Volstead Act. Intended to curb alcohol consumption, the National Prohibition Act of 1919 actually led to an era of organized crime and vice peddling to the degree which many rural towns had never imagined. And this stretch along Old Illinois Route 13 became ground zero for Southern Illinois' gangland wars of the 1920s. It was known locally as the Shady Rest, but do not let the innocuous name fool you. The 34-acre compound of the Charlie Birger gang was far from the leisurely rural country setting that its name implied. Located in the heart of Little Egypt, the fortified enclave was located approximately 13 miles east of Marion's Town Square, along what was then the newly paved highway of Illinois Route 13. By 1918, the rural property along the east-west route across southern Illinois had been developed into an early tourist camp. A much welcomed sight of its day for the early automobile traveler, tourist camps provided campsites and other amenities at a time when early automobile travel was less than reliable nor very timely. It was most likely during its time as a tourist camp that the structure that housed the infamous barbecue stand was originally constructed. In 1923, shortly after this stretch of Route 13 was paved as a state highway, owner McKinley Graves finally relented to Charlie Birger's repeated offers to purchase the property, which cemented the former tourist camp's place in local history and Prohibition-era folklore. Soon after taking possession of the former tourist camp, Birger set out to construct a log cabin lodge approximately 75 yards north of the barbecue stand. Enlisting the assistance of a local farmer's mules to clear trees, along with the farmer's grandsons, Oral and Ural Gowan, the group quickly erected several small cabins, establishing the property as the enclave of the Birger gang. With the barbecue stand nearest the highway serving as a guardhouse, Shady Rest, with its guarded perimeter, was most certainly the most secure piece of property in all of 1920s Southern Illinois.
I'll tell you of a bandit out in a western state who never learned his lesson until it was too late. This man was bold and fearless, the leader of his gang. But boldness did not save him when the law said he must hang. This bandit's name was Birger, he lived at Shady Rest, and people learned to fear him throughout the Middle West.
With his national notoriety as a ruthless, murdering gangster growing alongside the chaos that was brought about by Prohibition and the enforcement of the 18th Amendment, the citizens of Southern Illinois could do little more than bear witness to the madness of it all. The target of the Shelton gang, Shady Rest, was often in the crosshairs of revenge and retaliation. The layout and security of Shady Rest thwarted many well-planned assaults. Even attempts to attack by a tanker truck adapted into what was essentially a tank failed miserably. On November 12, 1926, the Shelton gang coerced aviator Ray Walker into flying over the Shady Rest, where Shelton associate Blackie Arms dropped multiple sticks of dynamite strapped with nitroglycerin in a desperate measure to eliminate their rival, making the incident the first known aerial bombing in the United States. Barely 2 months later, on January 9, 1926, the Sheltons would achieve success when a subsequent explosion and fire would level Shady Rest, killing 4 people in the event. The arrest of Charlie Birger in mid-1927 for the murder of West City Mayor Joe Adams meant an end for the raucous roadhouse on Route 13. The property served as a church camp with open tent revivals for many years after Charlie's demise. And by 1963, the land, like much of the surrounding countryside, was acquired by the Amex Coal Company, becoming part of the area's largest strip mine operation. For many years, the location of Shady Rest was identified by a historic marker along Old Route 13. Unfortunately, the marker was under constant assault by vandals, leading to its eventual relocation to the Williamson County Museum in Marion, where it can be seen today. 100 years ago, this stretch of Illinois 13 was a flashpoint of the Prohibition era. Today, a small residential development quietly reflects the history of a man from that forgotten era. This is Sean Vincelette, and that is one of the many stories of Southern Illinois.